Hey y'all, good afternoon. It's almost night time, but I feel a little bit better today. My eyes are still really blurry. Um, but I'm gonna try to get done what I can. Uh, Maybe later before I read the Bible and post it. Um, I don't know. But I'm trying to make the short talking, so keep praying for me. On the road to recovery. It's just taking longer than I expected. But this is gonna be the devotional on the one that we've been doing about 5 habits from the book of Ruth. So let's get started. It's day 4. Weddings and funerals. Quit quitting births. The Lord is near the brokenhearted. He saves those crushed in spirit. Thomas is coming to join us. Say hey, kitty. Okay. Him's a good kitty. He loves to read the Bible. Well, sit and listen, because every time I read, he comes and sits with me. So, and that is in Psalms 34:18. Or 34:18. Okay, so we are 3 verses into the Ruth story, and things are about to get a little bit out of control. Naomi's husband Elimelech died, and she was left with her 2 sons, Ruth 1:3. Well, what on earth just happened? Where we left off yesterday, Elimelech and Naomi were in Moab and getting settled. And then, boom, just like that, the unknown author of Ruth leaves us completely stumped. But here's something that might comfort our wandering woes. Whenever we study the Bible, it's important to know there's a story time and story setting time. This story isn't being told to people who are living in the time of the Judges. It's not a real life Twitter feed or of what's happening. This story was told many, many years later to a different audience in a way that mattered to them. It would be similar to us retelling a story from our childhood to our kids. Our kids, when kids might not understand or care about some of the details of the story, so we leave things out. This is why, as we study the Bible, we may still have many questions in our minds about details it seems the author left out, like what exactly happened to Elimelech. I need to know these details. It's kind of like when my girls come home from school. I'm so anxious to hear about their day, and all I get back is, it was fine, good, or okay. How did Elimelech's death come about? That detail was apparently not something the author felt like he needed to share. Have you ever wondered what people will say about you when you die? It was a beautiful spring day. Our Carolina blue skies were near perfect. The temperature was just right, and cool breeze brushed beside me as I walked into the church. The weather just didn't seem fitting for such a sad day. Moments that mattered were shared, tears of sorrow were cried, and a life well lived was honored. As I left the church, I wondered what will people say about me when I die. I pulled up my phone and saw a new important email had come through. I quickly clicked it open and read it. There was a big project I had been working on, and I was waiting to hear if I was selected. This email confirmed I wasn't chosen. The first thought popped in my head was, well, you should have quit this a long time ago. Anyway, my thoughts continued to spiral downward as I left the church. I was convinced the only words people would ever speak at my funeral were ones of defeat. Nikki, the woman who never finished anything. Nikki, the woman who quit. Nikki, the woman whose dream died with her. It was as though my cycle of defeat had moved me into a new level. Despair and death. I felt like one of my dreams died that day. When a woman feels despair and death, she feels as though hope is as far away as it possibly can be. I wondered if Naomi felt this way the day she stood over her husband's grave. This painful moment filled with despair, reflecting on the life of a man she intimately knew, what his clothes smelled like, his favorite meal, the things that made him laugh, prayers he prayed. I imagined as she was looking into the future, it didn't seem like there was much to keep fighting for. When was the last time you were filled with despair? The good thing is Naomi still have these 2 boys, Mahlon and Chilon. Looking back on the time you were filled with despair, what were the things you saw you still had? Sometimes when we are walking through places of despair, it's hard to see what we still have. It seems like so much is gone and we just can't seem to find hope ahead. This is why I love God, and I love how God gave us our quit quitting verse today, Psalms 34:18. What does it mean to you for God to be close when you feel brokenhearted? I feel like whoever wrote the book of Ruth was to the point person, because we are only about to enter the fourth verse of this story and see another life-altering event. Read Ruth 1:4. What does it say happened next for Mahlon and Chilion? Okay, Ruth 1:4 says they married Moabite women, one named Orpah, and the other Ruth, after they had lived there about 10 years. See, at the beginning of the story, we saw that Elimelech was a man who loved God. He and Naomi was Israelites, meaning they worshiped the one true living God, Jehovah. We can probably assume Mahlon and Chilion were brought up in the same faith. What type of woman does the text say Mahlon and Chilion married? One named Ruth and one named Orpah. So we have, they were married to Moabites. The history between the Moabites and the Israelites goes much further back than just in our study of Ruth. This isn't the first or the last time we see an encounter between the two. The Moabites worshipped a god called Chemosh. Chemosh was an evil god that led the Moabites to do all kinds of evil things. Read 2 Kings 3:26 and 27. What does it say the king of Moab sacrificed? 2 Kings 3:26, 27. When the king of Moab saw that the battle had gone against him, he took him 700 swordsmen to break through to the king of Edom. But they failed. Then they took his firstborn son, who would succeed him as a king, and offered him as a sacrifice on the city wall. Their fury against Israel was great. They withdrew and returned to their own land. What two kind of issues do you think could rise up in a marriage with two very different fates merging together? And then suddenly the things go from bad to complicated to really bad. After they lived in Moab about 10 years, both Mahlon and Chilion also died, and Naomi was left without her two children and without her husband. Ruth 1:4 and 5. In 5 verses, 2 weddings and 3 funerals. Wow. This book is intense, and we're just getting started. Naomi, Ruth, and Orpah needed God to be near. For those of us wandering through these days where we just don't know what to do, knowing that God is near is comforting. We don't have to quit. We don't have to give up when He is near. And that is all of that one for today. Tomorrow will be day 5. And I hope everyone has a great day. I'm going to try to work on what I want to talk about. I think next is going to be faith. That I'm going to read out of the Bible. So I hope everyone has a great day, and I'm going to be working on that. Hopefully I'll get it posted this afternoon or later tonight. Jesus loves you, and I love you guys.